My name's Sharon Vogler, and I get the absolute honor and privilege of working with all of our School of Business alumni, from our undergrad students, our pre-experience previous students, and all of our undergrads as a career development specialist. So anyone who falls in any of those categories, if you need any help with career development or job search techniques, I'm the person that gets to put together programs and resources for you. I'm also really, really thrilled to just recently be able to work with our MBA current students. And that's the hat that I'm wearing here today. Part of my job is to put together professional development opportunities, not only for our alumni, but for our MBA students. And every semester we host industry spotlights. Traditionally, we've done these in Farrell Hall during the dinner hour, and they are lightly attended. So we're trying something different. This is the first one of the semester that we're doing this way and offering some career education opportunities during lunch virtually. So that was a very long-winded intro to say that this program is designed really to help educate you on things that you don't know about careers here in the Triad. So I'm going to ask each one of the panelists to introduce themselves, talk about how you're affiliated with Wake Forest, who you work for, and a brief overview of how you got there today. And so, Shauna, you were first to log on, so I'm going to let you go first, and then we'll go Perry and Gabe.
Wonderful. Well, it's nice to be with everyone today. I'm Shana Gregory, and I am the Vice President of People and Culture at a Legacy Credit Union. My affiliation with Wake Forest is that I went through the MBA program, the evening program, and graduated in 2022. So I was one of the COVID cohorts. And a brief overview of my career path. I've been in human resources for about 25 years. I started my career in government contracting and government work in the DC area. And 8 years ago, moved to North Carolina and started working in financial services. And that pivot in my career, moving into financial services, is what prompted me to go back, get my MBA, and have a stronger understanding of the industry that I'm in. And so I'm part of the Legacy Credit Union team, and really focused on how we can help those in North Carolina, here in the Triad and beyond, with their financial growth and their personal financial situation. But in my role is leading our people teams, really focused on how we can help grow our employees and bring in the top talent. So while I work in human resources, I have a lens into all of our hiring and all of our career opportunities here at a Legacy. So it's a pleasure to be with all of you today. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you're glad not to be in DC right now and safe here in North Carolina from all the craziness that's going on up there. A Legacy is such a huge corporate partner for us here at Wake Forest University. So we thank you for everything that you do for the university, and just especially for being here today to talk about all the opportunities there. Perry?
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me, Sharon. I'm Perry Bailey, and I am a regional executive at First Citizens Bank. I'm actually not very tech savvy. I'm glad this showed up because I don't know how to turn it off or put it back on, so you can see where I work. But my connection with Wake Forest is I actually went to undergrad at Wake Forest, where I was an art history major and a sociology minor. Which is not connected to finance, but then went to the master's in management program after graduating from undergrad, and then later received my MBA a few years after that. So I have 3 degrees from Wake Forest University, and met my husband there. He went to law school there. Met while we were in school, and actually lived in Winston-Salem after I graduated for several years, and started with First Citizens Bank in the Triad. If you're familiar with any of our locations, I started in the location that's right on Stratford Road, and moved to Raleigh since then, and have done several roles at the organization, including in the bank side and also in our broker dealer side. I was a financial advisor for a while there. But in the role that I have today, my region is actually in South Carolina and Georgia today, which will soon expand to South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. So the Triad is an area that I'm very familiar with in Winston-Salem or in First Citizens, and lots of great opportunities there with our organization that I'll be looking forward to sharing with you guys. And First Citizens Bank, for those of you who are not familiar, we help both with personal financial well-being and business and commercial sectors. We also have, like I mentioned, wealth management and do a lot in that space in the Triad as well.
Fantastic. So Perry is a part of, you've heard the term double deek a lot, I'm sure, but she gets to say that she's a triple deek. If you count the, 2 years you worked for us too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bleeding black and gold. Yeah. Bleeding black and gold there. So thank you so much for being here today. It's great to see you. I'm Gabe.
Hey guys, I'm Gabe Irby. Graduated from undergrad in the business school in 2012. I'm currently a financial advisor as well as a growth and development director in our office here in Winston with Northwestern Mutual. So I actually started with Northwestern in the internship the summer before my last season at Wake. So played 5 seasons of football. Hopefully you guys stayed. If you went, you stayed for the end of the game this weekend. Go Deeks. That was a big one. But yeah, so met my wife at Wake as well. She graduated in 2014. And we've been here the whole time. So I'm downtown in the 500 West 5th building right now on the 6th floor. And so, yeah, it was interesting in terms of career path because I was curious about how money works. And I was a BEM major at Wake. So wasn't a finance specific person. But I really fell in love with the impact you can have in personal financial planning with people. So really what we do is holistic financial planning. Really, there's kind of a universal question that everybody has, and it's simply, are we going to be okay? And I think that the greatest gift that we can give everyone that we work with is that we help them answer that question through building a comprehensive financial plan for them and then helping them implement the solutions. So, it's been a journey. Started as kind of a financial representative with some insurance licenses, then got all my investment licenses, kind of graduated to financial advisor, to wealth management advisor, got my CFP, and Northwestern has been great at helping provide for all of those licenses and credentials along the way. So been here 13 years now, and I guess I'm one of the rare ones that started at a firm and will be here the rest of my career. So,
wow. Right. It really is unique to hear about these days. But I've just recently gotten to know Gabe. He is such a great ambassador for Wake Forest and the business school, so much so that he has offered his office to do a holiday party for the School of Business alums and our MBA students. So shameless plug. The event is live on our events page. It's going to be on Wednesday night, December the 3rd. And Gabe's opened up his office there. It's absolutely gorgeous. So come out and join us and start to kick off a very festive holiday season there at Northwestern Mutual. So let's stay there. Let's stay there at Northwestern Mutual. It's a big brand. It's got a huge footprint across, right? I know the United States, probably even beyond. But tell us what it looks like there in Winston-Salem, here in the Triad, in terms of, how big the footprint is and what kind of growth and opportunity you have and the different kind of roles that Northwestern Mutual can offer people here locally.
Yeah,
and beyond.
Yeah, so I guess to start with, I'm curious, show of hands, who is familiar at all with Northwestern Mutual? Anybody? Okay. Okay.
Just about
Perfect.
everybody.
So Northwestern Mutual actually started in 1857 as a life insurance company. So a lot of people that are much older than me, kind of retiree ages, they know Northwestern very well. As you know, they used to be called the Quiet Company. They've been a strong brand in the insurance space for many, many years. Um, Obviously, things have changed since around the 90s when the Glass-Steagall Act sort of came down, where now you see everybody doing everything, right? It used to be that insurance companies stayed in their lane with insurance, banks stayed in their lane with banking and lending, and investment houses stayed in their lane with investing. And now everybody kind of does everything. So it's sort of a multi-lane highway now. So Northwestern is actually one of the fastest growing broker dealers in the country as well on the investment side. And so what I really love about it is the opportunity to do really holistic planning, because I use sports analogies a lot, but a plan really needs good defense and good offense to be successful, right? So the defense would be risk mitigation, life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, possibly annuities if there's a fit there. And then on the offensive side, it's really good diversified wealth management, growing people's portfolios so that they can retire one day. Quick plug for special teams is I use that analogy. Special teams is really that retirement income distribution planning, which is kind of a whole different, it's kind of its own animal, right? How do I spend my money with the confidence that I'm not going to run out? So our footprint in Winston, we've got offices all over the country. Our Winston office is there's about 21 advisors. There is definitely capacity for more with the population size of the area. And so we're constantly on the lookout for talent when it comes to people that are interested in joining a firm in the advisor role. So this would be a people-facing role. You know, I often say I could be the best financial planner in the world, and if nobody knew about it, it wouldn't really do any good, right? So there's a lot of people are surprised to know that there's a lot of the soft skills and the sales side when it comes to financial advising. You actually have to go find your clients, right? And so for me, one of the things I've really appreciated about my career with Northwestern, and why I can confidently say this is where I'll be for the rest of my career, is I actually own my own book here, because I've had to build my own book here. But it's an opportunity to be part of a group and have all the resources needed to be successful, but you're able to build your own business as well. So I look at my business two ways. There's a cash flow component where, as I grow that business, it's creating revenue that continues to grow every year, which is awesome. But there's also an equity component. So it's cash flow, but also equity. So I own my book. So when I retire one day, I have an asset that I can sell for a hopefully very large number.
Wow. I've never even
So I don't know
thought
if
of it that way. Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon.
I've never really thought of it that way, how you can sell your book of business. So I imagine someone would fit in really well if they have a strong entrepreneurial spirit, someone who's willing to get out there and hunt for business, and then building relationships, right? We're going to hear a lot about relationship building, but real specific one-on-one relationship building.
Yes.
Yes.
Because those relationships are pretty, and Perry, you probably could speak to this too with your experience as a financial advisor. Those are really deep relationships. You got people telling you things that they're not telling anybody else. And so, that's a really cool experience. The impact is awesome. I would say we're looking for people that, like you said, Sharon, have that drive and entrepreneurial spirit. They want to build something for themselves. I often call it the 3 I's, is what drew me to the career. First one is impact, making a difference in people's lives, right? Whether it be helping people save and congratulating them and high-fiving them when they get to retire finally, and going to the retirement party, and they're confident that they're going to have a fun, successful retirement and get to live out their dreams. Or on the flip side, on the risk side, the worst possible day somebody passes away unexpectedly. and I get to show up with a 7-figure check and tell them everything's going to be financially, everything's going to be okay. So the impact is huge. The second is the income potential. Obviously, the revenue that's created is tied to the impact. It's correlated. So the more I help people, the more money I make. So I like that. And then the third I is independence. Because I own my own business, I run my own calendar. Now all the pressure is on me. I've got to get the job done. I bet on myself, but I've worked here 13 years. I've never asked for a day off. I've never asked for time off. I control my own calendar. So that was really important for me after my time playing football, where I did not control anything about my calendar. So
that independence is something a lot of people in the generations, right, coming behind us are really looking for. So that's fantastic to hear. Let's move on to all of the unbelievable things going on at a Legacy Federal Credit Union. Shauna?
Thanks. So, as I have an unusual journey into financial services. As I mentioned, my background was in government contracting, and I work in human resources. And yet I don't think it's that unique of a story. I think that as we think about financial services, what comes to mind is, traditional bankers, wealth management, commercial, but there is so much else that is part of today's financial services with huge careers in human resources and marketing in IT, and looking at the future of financial the financial business with what's ahead for us in AI and what's ahead for us with the way that we are able to connect and build those relationships internally with our employees and externally. So as I look at a Legacy, we are a $2.5 billion credit union based here in Winston-Salem, but focused on North Carolina. We have 20 financial centers within our footprint, and we're on a growth trajectory right now where we're looking to expand our business. And so, yes, we are looking for those who are, more traditionally in the financial arena, but also thinking about how we're going to move forward and what is that workforce of the future going to look like, and what are the skills that we need there. So we're looking for individuals who, maybe don't have the background in financial services, but are creative, are really innovative, who are looking for a challenge, who are determined, who are resilient. And we're really focused on those skills, which is one of the reasons why we love our partnership with Wake Forest. It's not just about the skill set you bring, but also about those traits that you are and that you're bringing to work every day. I love hearing the stories of folks who have had different roles and have explored different opportunities in their career, because I think it does take some amount of personal courage to say, I want to try something, and now I'm ready to try something else. And I think a Legacy is a great place for that, because we're really looking for individuals who do bring that holistic approach to their work. So as we're looking, we are hiring in a multitude of different areas within our footprint, from Charlotte to Hickory to Winston and Greensboro, north to Mount Airy, and then as we're spreading more widely across the state, building financial centers, but also building those relationships as we work with different businesses and small business owners across North Carolina. So yeah, that's really, I want everyone to think more broadly about financial services, that it's not just, did I love my economics class in the MBA program? There's so much more that is involved and that is needed in order for this industry to be successful.
It's just really delightful to hear about the growth and as a customer. Yeah, I'm a customer of a Legacy.
A member.
I'm a member. I didn't think customer felt right.
Yes.
As a member, it's really fantastic to see when you go on their careers website, all the just diversity of career opportunities there with the bank. So like you said, you don't really have to know that much about finance to have a really fantastic career with a great organization. And speaking of a lot of recs, holy moly, Perry, I took a look early this morning. I couldn't believe it. The growth is, I've got chills.
Yeah, it's a
up and
very
down my
exciting
spine.
time.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah. So, First Citizens Bank, how many of you are familiar with First Citizens? So a few. So First Citizens is actually headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've been around for 125 years. We have over 700 branches, and we have about 20,000 people that work at First Citizens now. We're $200 billion, or a little over $200 billion in assets, almost 250. And Sharon's right. So if you've heard of us, my guess would be, and Avery, I think you did this, maybe that wasn't on purpose, but you kind of, you probably heard of us from our acquisition of Silicon Valley Bank, which happened in 2023 when they failed. And so that has certainly added a lot of growth. Actually, 18 months before that, we bought an organization called CIT, which was a bank and a specialty finance company. So we have experienced a lot of growth in the past several years, and it's been a really, really exciting time to work here. I've been here almost 10 years, and it's certainly changed a lot since I have been here. But I will say that a lot of it has also stayed the same. We are a family-controlled company. We're publicly traded, but family-controlled and operated, and the largest one in the United States, largest bank in the United States that functions that way. And I think that has brought some consistency across all the different verticals and specialties that we have, which has been really great. And while a lot of things have changed, a lot of things haven't changed. And one of those being that we are extremely relationship focused. So when we think about us being around for 125 years, a lot of our customers are generational customers. I mentioned that my territory today is in South Carolina and Georgia. We have a lot of locations in kind of rural South Carolina, lots of which, in the town, we have 100% market share. And I'll be in one of our branches and someone will come in and, our staff knows their grandparents, their kids, they're all clients. We help support the different businesses that they own, and we know their dog's name and their dog's favorite treat, and we have it stashed behind the teller line and all that kind of stuff. It's really fun experience. And while I am more in that kind of traditional banking space, and like I mentioned before, have worked in our broker dealer and have done some of that component, we also have a lot of specialization that we do as well. So Silicon Valley, obviously they did startup. They were really startup specific. And then we also have, things like factoring, and we have maritime, banking, and we have all these kind of specialty finance components within First Citizens as well. So I'll say, if you can dream it, we probably do it. And what's been really neat to see as well is that these different organizations, because First Citizens, when you think about us 125 years ago, or even 15 years ago, we didn't do factoring, we didn't do startup banking, at least not to the level that Silicon Valley does. We didn't do rail. We have a whole department that's focused on, we finance like 80% of rail cards in the United States. We didn't do any of those kind of specialty things, but as we've added specialties throughout the years, a lot of that, which through acquisition, those teams do those things really, really well. So Sharon's right. We have a lot of opportunities. The ones that I'm most familiar with are more in our branch side. So think about like business and commercial banking and leadership within those spaces. But that's not to say that there aren't many, many others. And obviously in today's, remote work environment, we have everything from marketing, IT, HR, like Shanna mentioned. We really do a lot of analyst positions, all of those kind of roles, compliance, risk. A lot of those roles are remote. And so while they're not specific to the trad, there's a lot of opportunity there as well. So it is a very exciting place to work. And while, obviously financial institutions are highly regulated, one thing I think we've been able to hold on to is, being open-minded to doing things differently to meet our customers where they are. So one of the roles that I just left earlier this summer was I was able to build and launch our virtual platforms for financial planning and what we call premier banking, which is sort of the segment under private banking. And our vice chair just said, "Oh, I have this idea. What do you think?" And I said, "Sure, let's go do it." And 3 years later, we had a whole platform that grew to over $1 billion. And a lot of that's because they allow us to try different things. And as long as we're keeping our customers in the center of what we're building, we've been able to do a lot of fun, different types of projects. So there's a lot of things that are moving and we're growing. And it's a very, very exciting time to be part of the organization. So I'm very grateful to be here.
And so with that Silicon Valley acquisition, does that put you in the national category?
Oh yeah. So we're actually we're one of the top 20 largest financial institutions in the United States.
Wow, that's fantastic. All right, well, let's stay with you. And I know you went through some credentialing, some series types of tests when you first started with the bank. Are there any of those types of credentials that these folks here participating in our panel should be thinking about, and specifically what kind of roles would they matriculate into?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Gabe, keep me honest, because you probably know a lot about that as well. There are some licenses that you have to be, I think the term is sponsored for. So you can't just show up on a testing site and take a Series 7, for example. I think you have to be sponsored by an organization in order to do that. There are some that's not the case, though. The SIE, I think, is one of the exams that's sort of the entry exam to take some of these other series exams. The SIE you do not have to be sponsored for. The SIE was not a thing when I was coming along and I was getting licensed, so I'm not the expert. Gabe, you might know more about that than me.
It wasn't there for me either.
Yeah. So I would do some research on how long that's valid for if you plan to take that exam. I'm sure it's 2 years or so, but I don't think that you have to be sponsored in order to take insurance exams either. I have my Series 663, and I have to take my 24. So I know I'm a big advocate of licenses. But what I would say, and I think there's a lot of great things about being licensed. Nobody can really take it away from you, even if you pivot in your role and you do something else. Unless your company decides not to sponsor it any longer. But, once you have it, you have it. So it's a great, and you can use it later in your career if you pivot back. So definitely an advocate of getting licensed. What I will say, though, is that they can be difficult. And so they're too hard to do just for the sake of doing it. I would definitely do it with a plan in mind. And different licenses allow you to do different things. So like the 6 and 63 allow you to do some, and I also have my insurance licenses, so can do some, brokerage products like mutual funds and annuities and 529s and things like that. But I don't have the license to pick individual stocks, so I don't do managed portfolio things. That's more of, and Gabe, keep me honest, but I think that's more of like your Series 7, 65, those types of things. There are also a lot of opportunities to specialize in some of the specific planning components. Like Gabe mentioned earlier, he has a CFP, which is Certified Financial Planner. That's more general financial planning. And then there's specialties within that. So you can do, like retirement planning or, there's hundreds of different certifications that you can do, and they all add value, but they are all different. So a lot of it has to do with what you're interested in. many of the positions within wealth management will require some level of licensing. And a lot of times they understand too that you don't have an opportunity to get licensed or certain licenses until you're sponsored. So a lot of your organizations, if they hire you to be in a financial advising role, they wouldn't, a lot of them will allow you to take the license exams either like right when you start, kind of before you start your day-to-day role. Or, you know, once you're kind of onboarded, they'll allow you to get licensed. You do not want to take those more than you have to. So I would really encourage you that when they give you the time to study, that you do it and you pass that first time, because it's really just distracting. Like my series 6 and 63, they didn't teach me how to go sell those products to clients. And it sometimes it doesn't even teach you how to give good advice to them. A lot of times it's about the kind of compliance components and things like that. Not that those aren't important, but that's not what's very fun to me, kind of the relationship building and matching people with the product that's the best fit for them, that can help them achieve their goals. That's way more fun than memorizing like the rules around, you know, what you're supposed to do when you get in trouble.
So those are prerequisites for a lot of those roles, but when you see them on job descriptions, it's the expectations that you will get that once you start with the bank.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, sometimes you can hit a role. Lots of times you'll see it if you look at a job posting, it'll say this is required. So that would be something that I would ask a recruiter is, well, is that required to apply, or is that required to do the function? Because because most role, like we try to recruit for people who have their, you know, Series 7 for those roles. But if we think they'd still be a good fit and they need to go get licensed, we will sponsor them to do that.
And Shauna, does the Legacy do the same thing?
We do. We have a financial planning team, and when we hire, if they're not licensed, we do sponsor them, and you know, provide them not only with the sponsorship for that, but the time to engage in the studying, because you know, as Perry said, those are significant licenses that do require a lot of focus.
Yes. We have heard. Gabe, anything to add to these licenses from your desk?
Yeah. So we've talked about a lot of different opportunities in the finance space. There are tons of opportunities with different organizations. And Perry, and is it Shayna or Shauna? Let me make sure I get it right.
Shayna, long A. Yeah.
Okay. So Perry and Shayna, y'all can speak to this as well, but like people, there are companies and organizations that are begging to be able to hire people. So just so y'all know, as you're looking for opportunities, like on the other side of the table, like I'm looking every day for good candidates. And so there are opportunities out there. So I guess I would encourage y'all that there's tons of opportunities. Just focus on being one of those good candidates, right? You already have a leg up on everybody else because of your Wake Forest degree. There's tons of opportunities out there. I always encourage like self-reflection around what it is you really want to be doing, because there's so many different career paths, even within finance. You want to make sure there's alignment between what the day-to-day is going to look like and what you actually want your life to look like. I tell people this all the time, but when you're exploring career opportunities, first think about what do you want your life to be like? And then find the career that matches up and gives you the life you want, right? Because work is work. There's a lot more to life than a career, but when you can get the alignment with your career, your work and your life can both be fulfilling. So I would just encourage like self-reflection, understand, you know, on my side, like I'm more of I will say like with Northwestern, there's a lot of our advisors that are former college athletes. There's a lot of our advisors that are former military. It takes a lot of competitiveness, discipline, like things that carry over from those you know, life experiences. But it's not right for more people than it is right for, probably. Not everyone is you know, it's the right fit to be a financial advisor or to build your own business. there's tons of other opportunities. So I would think about, do you want to own a business? Do you want to be an employee? Do you want to have, clock in, clock out, have a salary? Do you want to have more control over what your income is and have it be more performance based? These are all things to consider. So I don't know if that answered the original question, but those are just some of the thoughts I had as we were talking along the way.
And I'm sure Northwestern Mutual, if someone chooses that trajectory, would sponsor all of these testing certifications.
Oh yes, we
Yes.
we sponsor and cover the cost of all the licensing. So we help people. Our model is when someone comes in, they before they start, they get their insurance licenses and we pay for that. And then within the first year, they have to also get their investment licenses. And the reason we do it that way is because not everyone is an investment prospect. I mean, to be a decent investment prospect, somebody needs to have probably 250,000 of investable assets to be just like acceptable as an investment prospect. But there's a whole lot more insurance prospects out there. Everybody, I would say if they have a job, if they have an income, then they probably need disability insurance that protects their income. If they have a dependents, then they probably need some life insurance, right? So like there's a ton of insurance prospects. You can start building clients through helping people get the right insurance. And then those clients grow to become investment prospects.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
well,
that's our model for how to build a financial planning practice.
very, very, very interesting. And I knew time would go so quickly. This is not my first rodeo. So very quickly, Gabe, let's start with you. If anyone who is watching this or on this panel wants to learn more, what should they be looking for out there as they're shopping for different career opportunities? And what's the best way for them to stay connected with you?
Yeah, I can put my contact info in the chat. I'll do that in a second. So feel free to reach out directly to me. I'm happy to talk if you have any other questions. One of the things we do in our interview process is it's really what we call a mutual selection process, because there's a lot of this self-discovery I'm talking about in the process, because ultimately we want to know, is the candidate the right fit for us, but also are we the right fit for the candidate? Like, is there alignment between us and the candidate? So that's really what we look for. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. Saw Perry put her stuff in the chat as well, and I'll do that now.
Awesome. Shauna, how about there at a Legacy?
Sure. So I encourage you all to link with me on LinkedIn. I think that's a great way to connect, because whether or not there's an interest today, I think that the networking piece as we do these types of events is always important, because these are connections that you'll make through Wake Forest that you'll have for your career. But if you are interested in any of the opportunities we have at a Legacy right now, I encourage you to check out our website with our careers page and reach out to me directly if there's something of interest. I love to put forward Wake Forest candidates, and so if I can be of assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Even if it's not at a Legacy, I encourage you to reach out and just make those connections. And I've found that within the Wake Forest network, everyone is really willing to help and provide advice and guidance. And I would encourage everyone to take full advantage of that.
I always say that the Wake Forest will always show up for you. You just have to get their attention, and they have to have time. And if those things align, the answer 9.99999 times out of 10 is yes. Perry, how about you? I see that you dropped your contact information.
I did. And that's a great point, Sharon. You all have my attention. So you've already gotten one of those things. But certainly always happy for you guys to reach out to me directly. Like I said earlier, we are rapidly growing and always looking for good talent. And we have so many different kinds of opportunities that it's it's just about what you think you want to do. And so always looking to connect and try to connect you with different people in our organization that might, have different insight into opportunities that I don't have on my team specifically. But the Triad is a great place to be right now for many different reasons, but certainly within First Citizens Bank, we have lots of opportunities that we'd love for you all to explore. Like Sharon said, we also post a lot of there are a lot of opportunities on our website right now, which you're always I always encourage people to peruse those. But even if it's just, oh, I saw this posting, but I don't know what this means, or I see that this is located in Raleigh. Do you think that they would consider someone remote? And a lot of times those answers are, yeah, let me give you some more information about that. Or yeah, we might consider that for the right candidate, and you might be the right candidate. So please always ask the question and raise your hand if there's something that you have interest in. And we want people who want to be here. So if it's like, hey, I don't see a job online, but First Citizens aligns with my values and a place that I want to explore working, please do reach out, because more than likely there is a way for us to connect those dots when the timing is right.
You took the words right out of my mouth. So many times I work with a lot of job seekers, and they read these job descriptions and they think that it's a science, and it really isn't a science. It's an art. And so you have to be able to ask probing questions to the right people. So thank you all for being here, so that these people who are watching this knows that just keep asking questions. Don't take that job description as the gospel and it's that or nothing, because there is flexibility. And so don't let it stop you from just hitting the apply button, or at least trying to learn more before you get yourself out of contingency without talking to someone at these amazing institutions. So I have 2 minutes left. Do any of our participants have any questions for our panelists before I let them get on with making money for lots of people? And you can just take yourself off mute if you have any questions. Chris, I see you. What's your question?
Hi, Sharon. So I don't work in financial services. I'm a CPA, wanting to pivot into the finance realm. Just curious what your opinion is on the ability to pivot from a more accounting role to a finance type position.
I'm not sure who you're asking, but I will go first on that. Chris, great question. I actually have a colleague who is in the process of transitioning out of the business now. He's retirement age in our Greensboro office, who was a CPA for 20 plus years and transitioned into starting a financial planning firm and has done unbelievably well. So I've seen it work. Obviously, it depends on if there's a fit there and what that looks like. But I'm happy to connect you with him if you're wanting to explore that more.
Yeah, I'd love to pick his brain. Thank you.
Shauna?
Chris, I'll share. Our CEO is a CPA who pivoted and went on to lead, now a $2.5 billion credit union. So I think there's a great alignment there in financial services. So I think that's a great foundation for you if you want to explore a number of different careers in financial services.
Perry?
Great, thank you. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, we have a ton of CPAs that work here, and some of them do more traditional kind of or more corporate jobs that are very CPA oriented, if that makes sense, like accounting oriented. They basically do accounting here. But then we have a lot that moved into our financial planning office or sales roles, or we have them everywhere. And actually it's a skill set that we look for quite a bit. So that is to me, that's a dream pivot to make. And certainly one where you just got to decide what you want to do with it. But once you make, have some clarity around that, we hire a lot of CPAs.
It's good news. We've got time for
That's
one
good
more
to hear.
question.
It gives me hope. Thank you, Perry.
So I actually had a similar question for you guys. I'm currently a law student, looking to work in a financial role as well. I'm also doing the MBA. I was wondering if there's any roles where I could sort of leverage my legal education in a more in a finance firm or in a banking firm?
JC, I'll
We-
jump in here and say that, one area you might really want to explore is compliance. We are constantly looking for those who have that risk mindset, who can help us as we're looking at, an evolving landscape in financial services regulations, and having that law degree and MBA together is a great foundation for that. So if that's an area of interest, I would definitely encourage you to look at risk compliance as a way to be able to use both those skills.
Great, thank you.
I would
Very-
go ahead, Perry.
I was just going to say, so we actually have a really robust legal department here. And actually, Sharon, Rob Schaff works here, I think he might be a quadruple deek. Like he has more.
Quad.
Oh yeah. He has lots of degrees. One of them being the JD MBA. So he's kind of in that more traditional, attorney role. But then we have people who have background in law school that now are actually on the sales side, and a lot of that, that's what they gravitated towards. But looking at contracts and having that critical thinking skill set, attention to detail, ability to write. We create a lot of content, like thought leadership, and we bounce that off of a lot of people in our planning teams, whether they focus on. We have several people. Our whole nonprofit division, which is pretty substantial, over 50% of that group has a legal background and are licensed attorneys, and do help our clients a lot with around estate planning, family foundations, corporate foundations, things like that. So again, that is a skill set that we have all throughout our organization in different parts. Shana's right. Compliance and risk management is one of our fastest growing departments that we have here at First Citizens, and certainly they leverage a lot of that skill set. But we see it everywhere. So again, sort of like what you gravitate towards, but I think that you have an excellent background that can easily pivot.
Gabe,
Great,
last
thank
word,
you.
and then I'm going to let everybody
And I would
go.
add to that. And Perry, tell Rob I said hello when you see him.
I will.
Great guy. But the advisor on the other side of this wall, for me, is probably 5 to 10 years from retiring, but he has a JD MBA from Wake. So yeah, there's tons of opportunities. I think it just comes down to which way do you gravitate more? Do you want to be more on the sales side, working with people, the relationship side, or do you want to be more kind of I don't know what the opposite of that would be, but like more developing
Regulatory.
documents.
Yeah.
So I think it's once again the self-reflection, but great. I'll kind of wrap it up with a great quote from an awesome book. If you're interested at all in financial services, financial advising, Game of Numbers by Nick Murray. And he says you can always learn by doing, but you can never do by learning. And so I would encourage y'all to get out there and do stuff, because as you're doing it, you'll learn, hey, this is what I like to do. This is what I don't like to do. There's only so much you can get from like learning about it from a distance, if that makes sense.
That
Well,
makes
thank you.
so much sense. And that's a perfect way to wrap up a fantastic panel. So thank you all so much. I'll let you go and get back to what you are paid to do. Again, a couple of shameless plugs. We have an event tomorrow about building graphs. If you're interested, one of our professors is going to do a lunch and learn on how to build powerful graphs in PowerPoint. Next week, I'm doing a job search for busy people. That's a lesson in time management for working professionals. So check out some of our events, and we hope to see you at some of our programming or some of our in-person events coming up in the next month. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.